that feel when P Kitten joins your chat?
How do I do it?
Twitch.tv/gaming, tweetdeck.twitter.com. Log out of this tweet deck. You got 8 minutes, so take your time. Yeah, no worries on this one. Log into Joystick Fox. There we go.
How do I do it?
I really hate managing multiple Twitter accounts. I have like 4 Twitter accounts plus the kids to get Twitter now. It's like insanely frustrating.
I suspect you're fine.
Man, what? What am I fine with now?
Where is the banner? Where is stuff here? Hang on. You gave me better banner. Might totally do that.
See if I remember what the Twitter lock is. What email is associated with that? I had them all set up on this team, and now for some reason they're not showing up.
Well, Skype does autocorrect now?
Yes, it does. It's really annoying. I hate it. What is the password vault? What the fuck password vault do we even use? LastPass. Oh my god, my brain is just not working. Right. There it is. Everybody ready?
Yep.
No. I cannot. I guess I'll just turn Discord off. Whatever. It's fine. Okay. Oh, I see what it did. Okay. Is something?
Just trying to get logged into our Skype.
Okay. Perfect.
Arr. Come on, this monitor is dying. This is my big one, and I don't like to give me small monitors.
Alright, I'm good.
We got like 5 minutes. Most people are already watching since you told them to watch. Probably a lot. LastPass, why do you not log by MAC address? Why do you log by IP? Well, I'll do this one for this second. Oh, we still have like 5 minutes. Really wish I would have remembered.
We really need a theme song for this.
You're what?
I'm gonna get a drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah, take your time. We got like 5 minutes.
It's fine. We really
Yeah,
need,
we should get a theme
we
song.
need a theme song for this.
I actually have a I know several musical artists, so I can have a theme song made for us. That's fine.
Okay.
I'll just tweet it, I guess, from my main account. Just retweet my own tweet.
I mean, I like some of my own tweets. What's your point?
I just can't get into the regular Twitter right now. Into the Kitsuga Twitter. Kitsuga's Twitter's been acting really weird lately. I have to talk to Pirate Cheat about fixing it. Because I don't know what's up with it being so stupid. Kelsey, are you back? Yes. Oh my god, that's a cat. Okay.
Alright,
Okay,
we're ready
fam.
to start as soon as you...
Ready?
Alright, you ready?
Yeah. Yeah? Alright. 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
Hello, everybody.
I'm gonna take medicine. I have a headache.
Kelsey is taking medicine for a headache. What a great way to start the show. Welcome to Foxes After Dark with Fiona. That's me. The one down there, that's Fiaura. Say hi, Fiaura.
Hello, I'm Fiaura. What's up?
And special guest tonight, Kelsey, aka P Kitten,
Hi everyone.
aka the real shit, aka your mom,
Nice.
aka I don't know. She's probably got some other names too.
So I guess we have to start as usual with all of our disclaimers.
Yeah, we got a few of those. So first of all, I guess we should start with introductions. Well, let's do introductions and disclaimers. How about
Okay.
that? Does that work?
Fair enough.
First of all, hopefully you're watching us on my channel, or if you're not, then why not? Otherwise, you can watch us on Fiaura's channel.
I see. I'm always second best.
Well, you know, I'm gonna promote myself first all the
Of
time.
course.
Number one. So, I'll start with I'm Fiona Fox. Me, the Fox. My areas of expertise are mostly relationships and other things. I'm sorry I don't have a webcam on Fiaura's stream, y'all. The reason that I do not have a webcam on Fiaura's stream is because I am streaming this through OBS, and OBS will not allow me to use webcam both on Skype and OBS at the same time. Because Skype is
You could use it on Skype and window capture Skype and have all of us.
Yeah, it's a lot of work though.
Yeah, it's a lot, that's complicated.
I mean, it just annoys me. So, fine, I'll do it.
You don't have to. Anyway.
So while I fix that, my area of expertise is relationships because I've had a lot of failed ones. I am by no means a registered, licensed, or anything therapist, but I know a lot about relationships and kinks and weird, crazy shit. So now Fiora is going to talk while I try to fix the layout of this nonsense.
Okay, so I am Fiaura, aka my real name is Renna Miller. I hold a bachelor's in human sexuality as well as an associate in the same field. I have 2.5 years of master level study about human relationships and sex, literally. I hold this from the University of Delaware. I also give a shitload of speakings. This is what I do now with that degree, is I talk to you guys about your relationships and about all of the random questions you happen to ask us, no matter how lewd, crude, or insane they happen to be.
By the way, that was much too difficult to do on Skype. I'm too lazy to fix it. So we all just gonna have to look at a picture of a fox. If you really want to see me, y'all can watch the stream on Kids Get Gaming. But you know, there's nothing wrong with having both streams open at the same time. I won't be sad. Sorry, go ahead, Fiora.
Okay, I'm done. That was my introduction. I made it shorter. Are you happy?
And finally, we have a guest tonight. Her name's Kelsey, aka P Kitten.
Hi. I don't have any professional experience whatsoever, unless you consider dating professional experience. I think I'm on the same page as Fiona in terms of like having dated a lot of different kinds of people and stuff, and
I've had a lot of very bad relationships.
yeah,
So
well,
many.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I definitely, my lifelong career goal is to get into, psychology in general, but yeah, I'm definitely really, really interested in, like general sexual stigma and stuff like that, so.
That's good for tonight's topic, which is kinks and you.
Fascinating.
We are going to start with some questions because we got some. Well, maybe we should explain kinks versus.
Yeah. So
fetishes
while we're explaining it, I'm gonna flash it up on the screen right now. You can send me an email at fiaurathetankgirl@gmail.com, or you can tweet at either of us at joystickfox or at Fiaura_tanks right now to get more questions in if you so wish. If you don't want anybody to know what the question is, you can send it via email. If you don't mind doing it on Twitter, that's awesome. But in the meantime, back to what we're going to talk about. So kinks are things that you find sexually gratifying that may or may not involve penetrative sex, or that may be mixed with it.
Yeah. Whereas a fetish is something that you require for sexual gratification. So the difference between a kink and a fetish at a fundamental level is that a kink is something that you do because it turns you on, and you can also be turned on by other things. A fetish is something you do. It's the only thing you can do to get you off. It's like I have a fetish for glasses. I can't date a girl that doesn't have glasses. I'll never be sexually satisfied without it. That's a fetish versus a kink, just as a baseline. And then I think we'll jump right into your questions since we got so many.
All right, so let's see here. I'll start at the bottom because that's the first one that has arrived.
Yes, Bash, wrestling is definitely a kink.
I've been in a long-distance relationship with someone from Germany for about 2 years, which has grown into a polyamorous family of 3 now. But as it stands, I won't be able to move in with the person I want to be with for another 2 years at most, and I have to wait for my other partner to be as ready as well. The reason this info is important is because my mate from Germany has gotten more and more doubtful of our relationship's viability as time has passed, but I don't doubt it any less as when I started. It's difficult to keep that doubt under control at times, but I've grown far too attached to even being considered to let her go as a mate. How do I go about proving to her that I am telling the truth about everything and reassuring her?
Holy shit, that's a really long question. There's like 15 questions inside that question.
Yes, there is, and there's more. This is all the same email. There's another paragraph down here for 2 more questions.
Okay, I appreciate your paragraph of questions, but we're probably going to try to distill this down to a few fundamental things. So
let's distill this down and take this one little piece at a time.
Let's take the big points. So, long distance relationship with a person in Germany, right?
Where's the person asking the question from?
I'm assuming the U.S.
The U.S. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. We don't know where they're from, but basically, so first of all, we'll start with that. Long distance relationships are hard. Any relationship without touch is difficult. It's always difficult. You have to try to sort of mitigate the fact that you can't ever see that person in person by doing as much face-to-face as you can via Skype or phone calls or other things. That's my biggest piece of advice for long-distance relationships, and that's hard to begin with. Fiaura, I think, also has a long-distance relationship. I've had several. Kelsey's also, I think, had a couple.
Well, one of the ways we solve the separation with our long-distance relationship is we cut on Skype, and we're not necessarily cutting it on to talk to each other. We cut on Skype, we cut on our webcams, and we just continue about our business in our day. If I get up and go in the kitchen, I turn the webcam around and point it at the kitchen.
Oh, that's sweet. I like
So
that.
basically, it's the closest you can come to living with the person without actually physically being able to touch each other, is you just make them as much a part of your life as possible by turning on the means of communication all day long.
So, Bash has said something interesting. The person used the word mate. So they're thinking of EU, or he's thinking. It's interesting. I thought furry. What did you think when you heard the word mate instead of the word boyfriend?
I assume they want to use that as a means to distill what the sexuality is. Because if you say mate or they've never said in this entire sentence boyfriend or girlfriend. They've said partner, relationship, someone, mate. It's kind of an identifying marker to indicate that you do not consider yourself dating this person so much as engaged to be permanently a part of this person's life, which is a good sign. The way you're talking about moving in with them, and that is a good sign to show that you are making the effort to take that one step further because of the vocabulary you're using. The thing here is, though, you're mentioning a polyamorous relationship. I don't quite know or understand the nature of how you've set this up.
So, yeah, go ahead, Kelsey. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I have an input about you were talking about long distance relationships and how
Go ahead.
you feel that it's important to make them like as much a part of your life as possible through webcams and stuff. And I've, like you said, I've been in a lot of long distance relationships. I'm in one currently, but I dated the guy for about 5 years, and then about 2.5 of those years were completely long distance. And I tend to generally think that the strongest and most successful relationships I've had were long distance, because I think you have to fill the time that you can't be with them physically with literally just speaking to each other, or actually just looking at each other, which is a connection that a lot of physical relationships don't have. And I don't know. I tend to prefer long distance relationships. I think
Well,
This
making
is a
up for
very
it.
good point.
Yeah.
I think that long distance relationships also give you the safety. Um, if you live with someone and you're in a relationship with that person and you're living in the same house, you may not be able to get away from that person.
Mhm.
They may choose to continue to follow you or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
whereas when you are sort of in a long distance relationship, you can just turn off the phone or sign out of the Skype. Or if you ask Hazel, I've done that before. If I'm having a big argument with her and I know that I'm upset and I can't process stuff normally and I'm just really upset and I know that upsetness is causing me to say things that I wouldn't say if I was thinking in a rational manner,
Yeah,
I'll just
definitely.
sign off from the computer, put away my phone, and just leave for a while. And
Mhm.
that's a distance you can't have if that relationship is in person.
Mhm.
so as far as the whole polyamorous part and telling the truth and proving to this, so what you have to do here is a polyamorous relationship assumes both trust and lack of jealousy, which are
Yeah,
two
let's.
things that are insanely hard to achieve.
As
Just
much as I
laying that
love
on the
the
line now.
idea, I mean,
Uh, as someone who's been in who is in a polyamorous relationship, trust and communication and lack of jealousy, those three elements are going to be your enemy. Because communication is one thing, but if you're communicating too much and the other person creates any form of jealousy, they get suspicious. If you're communicating too little, they get suspicious. So there's this balancing act you have to do. More importantly, you have to be willing to drop your day in a long distance relationship sometimes and just go spend it with the other person because they need that.
Hitomi mentions that gaming tends to help with long distance relationships. I agree. Any activity you can do together remotely. Um,
Absolutely, yeah.
Straying into the more after dark side, there's a lot of remote toys now, Bluetooth toys, toys that are operated remotely from apps, and that can help bring you closer together if sex is important in your relationship.
Mhm.
Some people it's not. There are some people who can exist entirely outside of sexual relationships. I, for one, am not one of those people. I cannot do that. I
But yeah,
require.
I found the Bluetooth toy you're talking about is an incredibly romantic thing for a long distance relationship, believe it or not, because I know a lot of people like to get on camera with each other. And the ability to, if you want to be sexually involved, the ability for your partner to control how that toy works,
Mhm.
really kind of an intimate thing because your partner is also kind of feeling you out and with that little remote to determine what you like, what you don't like, when to do certain things and when not to in a lot of cases.
Right, yeah.
I want to get to the trust point of that question because I think that's kind of the biggest crux of the question. If I had to pick one little piece out of that paragraph that was written, the not the problem, the advice that's being sought is how to reestablish that trust. Trust is a fragile thing. When you do something that I assume there's something that violated trust go previously because otherwise there'd be no reason to not trust. Um, Trust is something you have to build, and it's something that once it breaks, takes a very long time to reestablish. Um, Especially in a long distance relationship where the person's not able to maybe necessarily monitor certain things, especially if they're a jealous person. There's reestablishing trust depends on the person, but in general, if somebody does something to me and I know that they've lied to me, I'm not going to trust them again until they have proved out of overwhelming amount of proof, a crazy burden of proof that
Mhm.
they're no longer telling lies all over the place. If they lied to me once, I assume that it was for a reason, and if they lied to me twice, and I'm like, oh no, you're just kind of doing this because just kind of a dick. And then if they keep going, that trust gets broken, and then to rebuild that kind of trust, especially with a partner, with a romantic partner, takes a lot of work.
Right.
Okay. So now comes the kink part of this whole question. Also, for the sexy bit, what if my mate is really into pseudo rape, but we've done it so much that I've grown tired of it and want to try other things, and it bothers them because when we do it, he doesn't like because the third person doesn't like the abusive part of it. I want to promote unity in the relationship, but it can be really difficult when neither can agree on it, especially if since it'll be desired in real life. with all parties present.
Okay, that is a whopper.
So,
You just drop the other foot there. The shoe dropped. So first, I want to really quick. Vash just dropped a really good metaphor. I want to just, since he's in my chat and not yours. Trust is like a plate. If you drop it and break it, it's not going to go back together. And even if you repair it, it's never the same. That's a really good metaphor. You'll repair it, but there'll always be minute cracks, and then those cracks will fall under more stress. Those cracks will explode, and the plate will blow up again. So that's something important to remember. But wow, that question, the second half of that question. First of all, I don't have any.
So first of
sorry,
all, we're going to reiterate our we are not doctors and we are not licensed therapists. I want to emphasize that right now. We have a lot of knowledge, both academic and real experience, but sometimes you may want to talk to someone who actually does this for a living.
Well, yeah. In this case, I think we can pretty well advise on this one. So the pseudo rape kink is fine as long as both parties are consenting. It's a huge kink. It's in fact probably one of the biggest kinks out there, especially on the female side, especially on the female side of the world. And it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that kink. If you want to be held down or choked or fucked in a rough manner, or set up a scenario where someone enters your house, as long as you know that person and you're doing it in a safe and consenting manner, I'm completely fine with it. And the problem that we have is that the other partner has a problem with it, right? That's what we've got.
Yeah, they do not like it at all.
Yeah, so that's not going to work. That's a no-go. I would love to tell you that there's some way that works out.
I mean, we would love to have the ability to look at you and go, "There's some way this relationship works out," but if one partner is really into a kink to the point, quote, they consider it integral to our personal relationship, and the other partner is, nope, not that does not work out. That is going to result in a massive fight, and you're going to end up with no partners at the end of it.
True. Go ahead, Kelsey.
Well, sexual chemistry is a huge part of a relationship, and I think that because sex is kind of a taboo topic, people tend to deny that or try to deny it or try to not make it a huge part of a relationship. But I think that if you don't have sexual chemistry, then it falls in line with a lot of other things, like the same way that not sharing the same interests or not having the same opinion on something would break a relationship. I think it's okay that if you're not sexually compatible, then maybe you're just not good for each other, or it's literally a hump that you're just gonna have to work around because,
I think you're right. I just think that in this case, this is something that, if the other partner sees it as abusive, sees a consenting kink relationship as abusive, first of all, that person really probably needs a little bit more education about how kinks work in general. Because if you're consenting and it's not abusive, if it's a consenting relationship between two people, and even if it is like a really crazy like rape RP, like, and you're like getting all into it, and he's tying you up or she's tying you up, and they're like putting blindfolds and gags and things, and as long as it's consenting and the scene is safe and it's performed in a safe manner by two consenting adult partners, like there's no reason to think that that's abusive.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so if your other partner thinks if that's a no-go for them, it's not, there's no way to work that relationship in a way that ends up being working. There just isn't.
No, there isn't, because even if you were to have that part of your relationship in even a different part of the house, then when you're in that different part of the house doing things, the third party is going to be like, I know what they're doing, and it twists my stomach inside. So the truth of the matter is, I don't really want to tell you to break up with people, but you're probably going to have to pick.
I would say Sorry, you go. No, you go. Go ahead.
At least you're going to have a very serious conversation in which all three partners are present, in which you express that this kink is so important and integral to your life. I had a partner, her name was Zoe, who kink was really important to her. The ability to go to kink clubs and to play with multiple partners at kink clubs was incredibly important to her. It was extremely important to her self-image, her ability to feel like she was it was important to her. Like, her image was based on this idea that strangers wanted to have sex with her, and that made her hot or whatever. I'm not inside her head, so I don't know exactly what she's thinking. But when I started expressing that I was no longer comfortable, this was after we'd been dating for like 9 months. And I began to express the fact that I was certainly willing to go to the club with her, but I didn't really want to participate in the activities that were happening at the club. And at that point, she did the right thing, and we sat down and had a conversation, and she broke up with me because she said, "You're not kinky enough for me. I need someone who's okay with these kinks, and I need someone who's a kinkster who's going to support me in that." She had a lot of other kinks too, but that one was, I think, the most important. Sex is taboo because Protestantism.
Exactly.
Thank you, religion.
I would say before breaking up, try everything possible. If you really love the person, you want to do that. But that could just be the ultimate solution, is just to break up. But yeah, what you said about having a serious talk before looking for advice from other people, I think the best general advice is to always just sit down and just talk it through. I mean, you should always rather want to talk to your partner than just in the relationship. And if talking doesn't work, then yeah, but I think in this case it's definitely something that, as long as everyone has an open mind, which it seems like they would if they have a polyamorous relationship, right?
Yeah, it seems like they would, but you have to remember that there are still going to be, as Fiona described, there's going to be certain people who have certain kinks and certain people who don't. And for some people, those kinks are actually going to become fetishes, which are, they need it for their sexual gratification.
Okay,
exactly.
Skullman's weighing in with a very important question here. Sometimes I wonder, I want a real relationship, but the female just wants sex. Like, is there a point of me trying to be with them, or should I just leave? So, anybody who just wants sex with you that's an extremely unhealthy relationship. Super big red light. Motherfucking red light the size of Nova Scotia, guys. Do not engage in that relationship.
Why would you want a real relationship with someone who doesn't want a real relationship with you? Like where's the substance?
As good as it might make you feel to be a coveted object or a coveted person sexually, you're going to have emotional problems in that relationship. Relationships need to be emotionally supportive, and basing them only on sex is not healthy.
No,
right. You can get involved in it, but I wouldn't expect anything out of it.
I would not expect any. If the person is just interested in sex, there's no relationship there. Unless you just want the sex part, don't get involved. Tell them, no, I don't want this, and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, or if you do want to have sex with them and you want it to be an only sexual relationship, don't call it dating. Call it what it is: friends with benefits. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Had that relationship as well.
You just need to identify. We're here. We're just here to to fuck and occasionally talk to each other, or maybe do some other activity. Just admit it and go on about life.
Yeah, it's literally just, we're here to have, we're gonna hook up, we're gonna we're gonna go out to dinner, hook up, and then we're gonna leave. And I'm not even gonna stay the night. Like, the relationship that I had that was that way was exactly like that. We would go to dinner, pay separate checks, go back, hook up, and then I would go home. That was it. That was the whole relationship. There's nothing wrong with that.
Ready for some more interestingly complicated questions?
Oh dear. Yes, go ahead.
I consider myself pretty gay by like 99% because I like penis. And at the same time, I like female characteristics much. There's a lot of muches in this. I counted like 16 more than masculine, with the exclusion of the vagina, which I personally find so strange that I can't even relate to females in sexual situations at all. And this lack of emotion and this lack of empathy in sex makes me feel detached from them. I find mutual enjoyment when my partner has a penis because I relate to their physical pleasure. What do I call myself at this point? Am I gay or something else?
That's really interesting.
That's a tough question. We got a question from chat, though. Can we answer that one first?
Sure.
Angel Gris. Hey, Fee, I'm listening, and besides the safe word in the talk, if you're non-compatible, what can you do? The trust talk. I guess that's referring to what we were just talking about, or having where you have to sit down and have a conversation with your partner. I don't know if you mean non-compatible sexually, or do you mean non-compatible in terms of everything? Because like, if you're not compatible with a partner, you shouldn't be dating.
You shouldn't be dating if they're non-compatible with trust issues. If they're non-compatible with a kink, you shouldn't be dating. You shouldn't be getting involved in any form of BDSM activity. Period. You need to. So something about sex that we as humans seem to think we can work around and we shouldn't try is a sexual relationship requires a working, emotional, and social one as well. Fair warning. Otherwise, it's just weird to us.
I mean, okay, so that's true for 99% of people, I would say. There is a small number. There are a small number of people. I have a former polyamorous girlfriend. There are a small number of people who are able to literally go out, have sex, not hook up with anybody, have zero romantical involvement with them,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't care. I consider myself to be pretty much like that. I do have romantic relationships with people, but they're not a sexually based relationship. My current partner is a long distance partner. We've met twice in a year, and we had sex both times we met, but sex is not integral to our relationship in any way.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, Kelsey? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I wasn't saying anything. I was just.
What's your take on that not compatibility?
No, I agree with what Fiaura said, that some people just aren't compatible, and I think that that's okay. And I think that it's a hard thing for people to accept a lot of the time, because you might really, really like someone, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And I think that's okay, because I think that there are so many people, on Earth, that there is somebody who you will like and who is compatible with you. And I don't think that you should get so stuck on one person if it's just something that isn't going to be able to be worked through.
Codependent relationships are one of the most dangerous things on the planet. We could do it. We're going to do a show on relationships. It's not this show, so I'm going to cut us here because we have other questions, and I want to get to the question that Fiaura just asked, because again, that's kind of a doozy of a question.
I mean, if you have to label yourself as a category and you prefer that your partner has male bits and you have male bits, then if you need a category, yes, you're gay. But otherwise, I wouldn't even bother with the category.
The
no
category
point.
I would put that particular person
Yeah.
is chaser, but that's just
really
like
interesting.
my opinion, man.
I mean, I don't know. I agree with the not labeling. I think that sexuality is extremely complicated, and people try to put a name for every single sort of feeling. And I think that that's okay if you need that kind of identity, but in terms of what you're attracted to. But I just think it's so complicated, that you shouldn't stress over it so much. I would just go after what you like,
You do you. Find someone who likes how you do you, and you do them.
Exactly.
There you
Yeah.
go. Problem solved. Who cares what you're called? Just
Right.
enjoy it and make sure it's healthy.
I would say, though, he said he's attracted to female characteristics. He just can't relate to them. So it's really difficult to say, but I generally think that what you're attracted to overcomes, like, kind of trumps what
Hey,
you
fam,
act
go
on.
find you that femboy. There's a lot of real good
Yeah,
femboys
that
out
too.
there. Yeah.
Exactly. Or,
Speaking
Hey, we
of
had an
fem-
actual kink-related question from Nikki.
Nice.
Nikki asked, so is it normal to want to have a cycle of all your kinks where you'll do the same thing until you two get bored and then try something else and go on with the cycle over and over?
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
Flat
That
out,
was an
yes.
easy question. That's why I asked it. It was an easy one to answer.
Do whatever you want.
You have a set of kinks you enjoy. You probably can't enjoy all of them at the same time.
Well,
So you
can,
have
but-
one you really like that you do a lot. Well, that gets boring. We're human beings. We like new things. We don't like the same old thing happening over and over again. So you move on to next kink. You move on to next kink. You move on to kink number 4. And by kink number 4, you come back to kink number 1. Perfectly
Maybe you
normal!
want to try something new. Maybe you want to try something crazy and different and new, and you want to try it one time just because you think it'll be fun. So you do.
Yeah, it's...
Definitely. I mean, oftentimes kinks come about just because people are bored of what they are doing sexually, and so they, try out a new kink. So I think it's okay to move from
So
one to
I
another.
want to provide you guys really quick with a little bit of a resource here. There's a website. It's a furry website, guys. But it's basically it's called F-List, I think, and it's where you can
Oh, God.
make a list of your kinks. There's a kink list. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. You guys.
So fair
I can
warning
link
to
you the kink
everyone.
list.
This is an adult website.
Yeah, it's an adult website, but this is an adult show. You shouldn't be watching it if you're not over the age of 18.
Here, I'll link you the kink list on Discord. I'll show
Thank
if
you.
want.
Please do.
You
of
can
course you have
so
it.
some advice for
pinned and not
people
safe
who
for work,
want to
actually.
do kinks in particular. Go to this website, and this is something that a professor of mine had us do. was to go to this website, and we were required, 1, to make a profile, and 2, to fill out favorite, yes, no, maybe for every single kink. And then when we got in, we were supposed to bring a list of questions about the ones that we didn't understand.
So if you don't want to make an Athlos profile, you can use the link that Kelsey just gave me now in both of the chats. It's just a quick. It's the actual thing from Athlos. Just you don't have to register for Athlos to do. It's really good, a piece of resource, to be honest. Bash has the question I was really hoping that someone would ask, which is, how do you let someone know about a kink if you don't like them but might be scared to inform them? If you do like them but might be scared to inform them? So there's a few ways of going about this, some which are successful and some which are disastrous. Now, keep in mind, did you get that link, Fiaura? It's in your chat. Okay, so keep in mind that this is coming from my perspective, which is that if you're not compatible with your partner and you're not compatible on kinks, your relationship's going to fail. So some other people may have different viewpoint than that, but what's CST and GMT? CST is GMT -6. So my opinion on that, Bash, is you got to come right out and be like, hey, I really like doing this. It gets me really hot and bothered. Want to do it sometime? It's kind of like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Yeah. I don't know. Alternatively, I feel like, though, that depending on who you are, I think a lot of people like to ease that kind of thing in. And I think, like a lot of things not sex related, I think it's okay to kind of maybe not do it right away. But I think you do need to get a feel for whether your partner would be okay with it or not. Like, I don't know.
Different opinions, different. What do you think on that one, Fiaura? Because this is the question I was really hoping we would get asked.
What do I think about that? I think that if you have a kink and you want to explore it, you should talk to your partner about it once you have that kind of relationship level of trust, as well as communication about sexual needs and sexual wants. And ask your partner, like, I would like to explore this. And if your partner doesn't want to explore it, then what you should do is find a way that both of you can mutually agree to allow you to explore it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that desire to go do that thing doesn't go away.
Right, it doesn't go away, but I will point out that what Fiaura is suggesting right now is a very polycentric way of doing this. And if you are part of the 90-some% of people that are not polyamorous, that's not going to fly.
So there are other methods to engage in this if your partner does not wish to engage in it, if you're completely monogamous. First off, there's porn.
Yeah,
lots of it.
There's always porn. By the way,
your partner and you should be secure enough with each other that if you occasionally want to go masturbate to porn, it's okay.
You should be able to masturbate to porn as much as you want. Literally, if your partner tells you can't watch porn and get off, you should probably dump them.
In this situation, I would be worried also that maybe you do agree with your partner that, you don't have to do this kink. But I would be worried that you might start to resent them for not allowing you to do something that you should kind of have the right to do or be able to do. Of course, with someone who wants to do it as well. But I think,
But if you're in a monogamous relationship, that's not an option for the most part, so you need to find alternatives. Porn's an alternative.
I think porn is a good alternative. I also think that talking to your partner about it, and again, here now we're getting into the line between fetish and kinks. If it's a fetish, that's not healthy, and you probably need to talk to a counselor about it, to a professional, because fetishes aren't healthy. Kinks are healthy, fetishes aren't. And so if your relationship is 100% dependent on having your partner pee on you, and your partner thinks pee is the most disgusting thing in the world, your relationship's not going to work out. So you need to figure out what's going on there.
Your relationship is not going to work out. And more importantly, you're not going to work out in most any relationship you get into, because you have one thing that has to happen for you to get sexual gratification. That's a problem. There's something wrong with your brain.
Yeah.
You should go talk to a counselor tomorrow. If you want to continue to have a healthy relationship with anyone,
it's going to affect your relationship. You're not going to have a healthy relationship. So now you've got three very different opinions. You've got me, who says you should just rip it off like a Band-Aid, because I have weird fucking kinks. feel free to ask about them, and I'll tell you either during the show or in private. I'm 100% open book on kinks. You've got Fiaura, who says that you don't need to rip it off like a band-aid. You can kind of go into it once you're in that relationship and you're into the trust point.
Yeah,
And you
I
got
mean,
Kelsey.
I
Go
agree
ahead,
with
sorry.
Fiora though. That like it's kind of a thing that you can ease onto them once you get to that point.
Now,
Of being able to talk about it.
Nikki asked a very important question. Is it all right if both sides have the fetish? No.
I was wondering that.
No, it's still not.
No.
Understanding that fetish, you have to understand the definition of fetish is I can't get off without this.
Right.
Fetish is if you're not wearing leather, I can't get off. If you're not, it's a very specific, tiny, narrow definition. And
Right.
Unfortunately, the porn industry and a lot of other industries have destroyed that definition, and so oftentimes kink is just called fetishes, and that's not right.
Well, that's obviously like a mental problem that you might want to get sorted out for other reasons. But if you find a partner that is okay with doing that all the time, like maybe always wearing leather during sex, and it's not actually affecting you, yeah, it's something you should probably get figured out for the long term. But
I mean, short term it resolves the need for it, but long
Right.
run. First off, like we talked about earlier, that's going to get old. And second off, there's something going on there outside of the realm of sex that you need to figure out.
right.
That you may not even be aware of entirely without talking your way through it.
Mhm.
Hitomi asks if it's a kink, is it normal and it's normal and is it normal and workable in a relationship to say, hey, I know you're not really into this, but let's do it just once in a while. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at that list that Kelsey linked, it's got green, yellow, and red on it. Actually, I think it has even more than that.
It has blue, green, yellow, and red. Blue means do this whenever I enjoy it. It might be a borderline fetish. Green means yes, I will enjoy this. Yellow means every once in a while I get this odd feeling.
Well, I do want to bring something up. There's something similar that I found a while ago that's really similar to Kink List, but it's kind of like you both put in your fetishes, and then at the end it gives you a list of the ones that you have in common and leaves out the ones that you don't. So you can kind of see what your partner is into without revealing the stuff that you're into that they might not like.
In case you're scared of your partner finding out that you really like pee or something.
Right? Yeah, it's kind
you
of just,
think
you
might
can
be.
find, yeah, you can find some mutual stuff, and I think that it might be really useful and neat.
I think that Hitomi, one of the things that is important that I like about the way that this list works is that there is the ability to put a red on there. So let's say you think feet are gross. You think they're the most disgusting thing in the world. You're gonna put a feet as a red, and if your partner is really into foot jobs, you're gonna have problems in your relationship. It's one of those things that it helps. It's a helpful tool. There are tools that you can use to improve your relationships, and if you ever go to a relationship counselor or if you ever go to see a psychologist, they're going to help you, give you these tools. I'm not a psychologist. None of us are, fortunately. Kelsey might be someday, but not me. So that's the kind of tools they'll give you to try to work through the problems you're having in your relationship. Okay, back to the question we started on like 10 minutes ago.
Okay, actually, we're going to ask a really simple question, hopefully, and then we're going to ask a really complicated one. You ready?
Sure.
So in chat here, I have, if I masturbate to gay porn, but I'm completely straight, does that make me gay even though I'm straight?
No.
No, it might make you a little bi, but...
Yeah, no, not at all.
I'm super fond of the Kinsey scale.
I mean, it's perfectly normal for, lesbians to watch gay male porn and get off to it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of times it's the action that you're into and not the actual attraction. Like, you can be not attracted to the same gender, but still enjoy watching it.
Speaking of attraction to gender, what gender would I call my mate if he got breast implants but kept his penis on purpose?
Whatever
He
it
likes
wants
to be called her, though, and I personally refer to him as her when talking to them personally. But my brain feels so scrambled trying to rationalize and categorize this.
I just spit out my monster. Did that email just say my brain refers to him as her?
Yes.
Righto. Okay, so first off, you should refer to your partner by whatever pronouns they desire. Otherwise, you're a very shitty
partner.
Yeah, I don't get how you can
No,
date
I am
someone
just a shitty partner.
and...
You're a shitty human being. Like,
Yeah, I mean, how serious are they with their relationship that they're not? Yeah, it's weird.
I would say this would be
long they've
pretty
been together.
serious considering that this person is talking about I am my partner is not considering reassignment surgery, but I am considering paying for her breast implants.
Okay, so I want to get out of the way right now. We're not going to do guys. We're not going to go into an hour talking about trans issues. We'll have a trans guest on, and obviously Fiaura and I are both trans, and we will have that discussion in another episode. So I'm not going to get deep into this, and I'm going to call moderator powers and stop us from talking about it for too long. But gender expression and breast implants or having a penis, whatever you express as, that's 100% you. Doesn't matter what the fuck your physical characteristics are. All that matters is what you're expressing as. And so if that partner says, I want a female pronoun, yeah, better use it. Otherwise, you're a shitty person.
Right.
There you go. Problem solved. How about a kink question? What would I call a kink in which a person is into feral monster-type fantasy creatures that aren't grotesque? Think of werewolves, Vindicar Amelia from Bloodline, some demons, and other things. Also, this extends to giant spiders, such as the Kakaris from Skyrim, and other assorted creatures that have frightening appearances, but aren't zombies, decaying, undead, or just overtly disgusting.
I mean, that's a pretty simple monster kink.
Yeah, it's
not really complicated.
there's
a bunch of different things in there, but overall what that is a monster kink, and it falls firmly under the fantasy side. I wish I could find it. I used to have this awesome massive flowchart. Maybe Kelsey can find it because she's kind of an internet wizard. It's like a giant flowchart of kinks that categorizes them all into different categories, and it's like a huge diagram.
I don't think I've seen that before.
It's a simple monster kink. They may have certain monsters more than others. That's fine. I mean, it's what they like to some degree. I'm imagining that you mentioned Skyrim specifically because they have their Skyrim modded to hell with things that I have seen that just make me go, people made that.
I found it. All right, so guys, this is a little bit older one. I'm gonna put it in the chat. The image is safe for work, but this is a bit old one. Monster I hardly knew her. Yes, Crump. Monster I hardly knew her. This covers a lot of kinks and kind of tries to categorize them. This is a tiny percentage of some of the larger graphics that I've seen posted over the years on Reddit, on the r/sex Reddit, which I love. It's like my favorite thing in the whole world. I love reading stories on there and stuff. Okay, so I think we had a couple questions while we were doing that. Angel Griffith mentions that their sexual awakening was unconventional and put them in a bad place. They lost their cherry before puberty. We won't touch that one. That's a therapist issue, Angel Griffith.
That is what I can advise you here, Angel Griffith, is that is a therapist issue that you should be talking to someone about, because someone who's going to get to know you a lot more than we will, because part of the problems you may be having are still stemming from that. And a lot of the problems you're going to have with sex are going to stem from that initial experience. So you're gonna want to see professional help. If you really, really, really don't know where to go, email me and I will see if I can find someone for you. I have a very large network of therapists that I've slowly gathered together over the years for referring people to people who will talk to you about your sex life. So
King Brown's sorry, go ahead.
You may want to send me an email and let me know that it's you and that you are asking for me to link you up with someone, and I'll see what I can do. I can't promise the therapist will be for you, but it will get you on the road.
All right, so now we have a question from King Bronze. Isn't the term for that dick girl just being honest? No, that's a terrible term. Don't use it. Unless someone self-identifies as that, in which case they can use it, but you can't.
Exactly.
Terminology is complicated, and I don't want to have an hour discussion about terminology.
Partner wanted a three-way. I always enjoyed sex with a tight focus on my partner, just devoted in worshiping their body, driving them crazy. Best way for one person to handle two people like that?
I mean, I see no difference between worshiping one person and worshiping two people.
Yeah, so
that's personal. That's my personal way of handling it. Your mileage may vary.
Could you not do like a threesome and still just focus on your partner?
Could also do that, although that may make the other partner particularly angry or jealous.
So, I mean, just try to balance it between the two of them. If you want to keep an intense focus on your partner, then find someone who's willing to be involved in the three-way, who's going to focus on your partner as well, so you effectively are double teaming that person.
Right.
Spit roasting. I know somebody who likes spit roasting. Someone very close to us. There was a question from. Was it a question from Nikki or just a statement?
It looks like just a
Okay,
statement.
then it's just a statement. Okay.
I have one from. That's the one from Hitomi. Is there any more here? My problems are trust and participating cues, so it's okay.
Angel, that really sounds like something you're gonna have to talk to a
Yeah,
professional about.
that
I'm
is
not gonna
something-
lie.
We need to recommend you to an actual therapist on that one.
I'm so unqualified for that. Like, and even Fiaura, who is the only one amongst us that hasn't.
I mean,
How can
I have experience as a therapist, but I have not renewed my license, and more importantly, I am not here to give one-on-one personal therapy as much as I would like to, because I would be
That's just
legally
expensive. Yeah,
liable
you can
for
pay
that.
pay her $900 an hour. Actually, I really think that's a great question. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, Keeg, but I think that's a wonderful question.
That's Kelsey
How can a
from
not
Penguin.
very dominant? What? Sorry, what?
I was pointing at Kelsey on my screen.
Yeah, but that's Keeg who asked the question in the chat.
I'm looking at your
Not
chat.
Kelsey.
Oh, Crump said which one is Kelsey. He's an idiot. He knows me.
Crump.
All right, so Kai, how can a non-dominant person deal with being the dominant in a relationship? Ooh.
It's hard. So there. I guess let's start with. So this is. I assume we're talking about BDSM here. So this is one of my favorite kinks. I love BDSM and power exchange, which is at the core of BDSM. So usually in BDSM you have a dominant partner and a submissive partner. That's that's kind of the whole point. I was gonna try to say it more eloquently, but there's just really no other way to say it. There are plenty of people who switch back and forth. There are plenty of people who only dom, plenty of people who only sub. The difficulty of dealing with, if you feel like you're a more subby person than a more dommy person, you can try it, but if you can't do it, if you're out of your comfort zone, you can't. It just doesn't work. For a long time I dated another trans girl, and we had an amazing relationship. We connected on a really, on every hobby. We were super great friends, but we were sexually incompatible. Oftentimes laying in bed, she would just be like, I'd be like, what is going on? She'd be like, this is just two bottoms not having any fun. And I'd be like, well, fucking knocked that one on the head, didn't you, girl?
So, I'm a true switch. I enjoy stuff. For the most part, if I can enjoy the kink, I will enjoy it receiving or giving or however you want to describe it, because I enjoy it when the other person is enjoying it as well. If the other person in the relationship is not enjoying what I'm doing, it's called empathy sexual gratification, in which the other person's level of enjoyment dictates yours. But that's me, and that takes time and effort and a lot of self-discovery, because originally I was super submissive, and then I went, wait, I can explore both sides of this and enjoy it. But if you, as Fiona has described, if you physically cannot enjoy it, if it takes you out of your comfort zone and you are not enjoying it, you won't.
You can. That's not to say. I don't want you to misconstrue me as saying don't try. Not you,
try.
Definitely try.
Legitimately try it out, explore it, give it time, and if after a couple weeks or a month or maybe 2 months, if you still can't find the enjoyment in being the dominant one and in initiating as the dominant person when you're to initiate sexual contact, you probably can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible to go to be a soft dom or to have a power bottom. There's plenty of people who do what we in the community call topping from the bottom, which means even though you're bottoming, you're bottoming.
You're the one in control.
You're submissive. You're directing. You're giving directions. And I think Hitomi hit on that just a little bit just now. Constant stream of directions. Oh yes, right there, and not fun. That's topping from the bottom. That's you as the submissive partner taking control of the situation and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna help you understand what I enjoy." Now that's not gonna work with a complete submissive. There's gonna be people who won't do that. This takes a certain kind of bottom to do that. It takes a certain kind of dom to be okay with that. And there are also doms who fucking hate that. There are doms who straight up are like, you listen to me, you do what I say, or we're not having a relationship. and that's different. There's just different kinks, different sides of the kink. Okay, Kelsey, you were saying something. Go.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Well, say something.
What? No, I generally I don't have anything to say. I mean, if I'm not saying anything, I probably just agree with you. No,
What do you think?
I think
Bottom
you
or
should
top?
personally. Here's the
That
thing,
is the question.
Fiora was saying something really interesting about she said that she can't enjoy herself unless her partner's enjoying themselves, and I've always, I guess now that I think about it, it could be either or, but I've always considered that to be submissive, doing whatever it takes to make your partner feel
Well,
good.
I agree.
I mean,
But I do
possibly,
think that you can be a dom.
there are totally times when I have been strapped down in leather and directing my partner and giving them a freaking crop whip to their ass.
Right.
And I'm obviously the one in control, and I enjoy what I'm doing to them.
Fiona, let me ask you a question. I'm 5'1", a foot shorter than anyone I've ever dated. What do you think the answer is?
I mean, I know a lot of really short girls that love to step on people, so
Stepping on people is one thing. I can imagine. No, 100% submissive.
that's fine. I mean, it's not like I'm not saying that you shouldn't or should be submissive or dominant.
No,
It's
yeah.
all
Yeah.
on your personal choices. It's just interesting to hear that particular stereotype because I know a lot of small women that are good doms.
Yeah, I guess you're right, actually. No,
Especially
obviously, yeah.
small hands.
I mean,
small hands can do really interesting
you
things.
don't have to be me at 5'9" and physically imposing to be a dom.
We are
You
Yeah.
don't
mixing
have
it.
to be
Height-
you at 5'1", 100 pounds soaking wet to be a sub.
Yeah, height obviously doesn't directly correlate to interest, but I was just,
See, there you go. Bash is a big dude. He likes to be the sub. All right, we got a couple of. We got to address the chat because it's gonna scroll. It's scrolling now. I'm a switch, but sometimes I get iffy if I end up coming out as the bottom and still going off and doming. So, Nikki, that's just switchy. I mean, like I said, bottoming from the top, very much a thing. Topping from the bottom, very much a thing. Switching, very much a thing. It's very rare in non. It's very rare outside of a scene, a BDSM like a preset BDSM scene. I called it a stream. Wow, brain. Preset BDSM scene for people to sort of have that kind of only top or only bottom relationship in their entire life. And there are people who do permanent like MS and master slave. Sorry, that is like permanent master slave stuff and like 24/7. That's on the much more extreme side. And we will have an episode about BDSM. Keep that in mind. We'll get there. Because it's a whole episode by itself. I mean, it's one kink encompassing a million things. Any final words on that particular bit?
Nope.
Okay, so let's keep going down and see what else we've got.
Thank you, Bronzebot, for reminding people to hit the like button if they're enjoying this,
Oh,
or
yeah,
dislike if they're not. Give us some feedback, people. If you want to
Please
support,
subscribe.
you can subscribe and
Please subscribe to Kids
and
Gaming.
follow and follow my boss there at Kitsuga. They're our sponsor. Thank you guys. In the
please hit
meantime,
your stream, slap the follow button. Yo.
here's one for you. Have you heard of the changes to the social site FetLife?
Yeah.
What do you think of them?
They're bad. So I want to explain to those that don't know what's going on with FetLife. So FetLife has for a long time been the online home of the kink community. Everything from incest to rape to just casual BDSM. It's kind of like Facebook for kink. In fact, that's probably the best descriptor that has ever been made for it. Not my original descriptor, sorry. But people have described it as the Facebook for kink. You set up a profile, you can put pictures on there, you set up meetings, there's groups. It's basically Facebook for kinksters. And what happened is they're based in the UK. There are some very, very, very draconian laws that were just passed in the UK regarding quote unquote fetish pornography. It's not fetish pornography at all, but quote unquote fetish pornography. And because of that, what happened was FetLife's payment processor. FetLife is huge. It only exists because people pay. There's a paid service that goes with it. And FetLife's payment processor stopped accepting payments for them because of the new laws in the UK. And as a result of that, FetLife had to remove large swaths of kink community, including the rape stuff and the BDSM and some of the BDSM more extreme stuff anything relating to incest, all the stuff that is kind of more on the like what people who are more vanilla would think of as the extreme side. All of that is now gone from the site overnight, deleted with no warning. Um, it was what they had to do to stay open. They would have been shut down otherwise.
Yeah, but see, I hate to do this, but this is actual censorship in play. 100%. On top of that, this is trying to remove a part of people's sexual interpersonal lives, which is just going to cause more problems because people are going to look for alternative, less safe, less proven methods to get their sexual desires. Period.
But I mean, it's not even that. It's not. It's censorship because they have. It's not censorship. It's keeping open a business.
It is keeping open a business, but the UK's actions are censorship.
Right.
Like, period.
Well, yeah, but I mean it's the UK, y'all. If you're not, y'all know that Big Brother is the UK, right? If you ever lived in the UK, you've been to the UK, talked to anybody from the UK. There's CCTV cameras on every single fucking corner in every major city. The entire place is literally Big Brothered up. That's the way it is.
And furthermore, a lot of the stuff removed from the website was created by users of the website. That stuff is gone. They can't get it back. They were given no chance to do that. So you have whole parts of people's lives, hundreds of hours of videos, hundreds of thousands of pages of written text. Poof.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. Sorry, guys. When that website is privately owned, it's not public property. I know you're crying censorship. It is censorship at a basic level. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as censorship in a private thing.
But I can't agree.
They
with
didn't
the way
shut.
they
The
did
government did not order them to shut down. They were not told to shut down. Instead, what happened was their payment processor told them they would no longer accept payments unless this was done, and a private business made a decision that they were going to continue to stay operational by removing that part of the site.
My problem with it is they gave the users no time to back up any of the stuff they created. It's just gone. And that is going to upset a whole shitload of people. As a matter of fact, entire profiles were completely deleted as a part of this.
I mean, that's just the way it goes. You know
that's
what?
That's just the way it goes, but at the same time...
You don't own any of that. Tough luck.
You don't
Welcome
own,
to capitalism.
You don't own the server space. Fair enough. But you created the work, and the work is gone.
And once you uploaded the work to someone... So, you write for me, so just so you know, from a legal perspective, everything you write and put on my website is mine.
True.
You don't own any of that anymore. It's in your contract that I wrote, that I now own.
I know.
Yeah,
well,
to be fair, I mean, they should have known. Like, I do agree with you that it is kind of crappy, but they did know, you know, that it was no longer theirs once they put it on the website. So
it's super, super shitty. Don't get me wrong. From a moral standpoint, incredibly shitty thing to do. 100% in the realm of legality.
Right.
Doesn't
People
make it
don't
any
like
less
you.
shitty. There's been a lot of things done that were legal that were pretty shitty. Let's just admit it.
Yeah, I know. I agree 100% with that.
So, who would like a relationship question? Because this looks really complicated.
Just want to see if there's any. I want to see if there's anything in the chat that we need to. Who decides what is not acceptable? Why is the government so worried about two consenting adults are doing it in the bedroom? That question is as old as the government. In fact, people have been debating that question since the 1700s. The truth of the matter is that in the UK does decide what it believes is moral and right for its citizens, and that's how UK law works. In the United States, we're a little bit more liberal. We tend to think, and this is the only time I will ever say we're more liberal than the UK, probably. We tend to think that if you're doing something in the privacy of your own home, it's not the government's business, and that's largely because of the Federalists. And we really don't need a history lesson to go with this, but a long, long time ago, a group of people that are now the Republicans actually said, "Hey, motherfuckers, government doesn't have any business in my private life. Get out." And that helped to shape the country. A big part of shaping the country was that. And so as a result of that, we have a lot more in our homes, in our private domicile freedom than people do in the UK, partially as a reaction to the fact that the UK didn't have that. but the government does occasionally want to legislate morality, and when they do, you just have to deal with it.
So this person has said, quote, please leave me unnamed. Guys, just so you know, if you send something to me in my email, it's assumed you don't want me to name who you are, because otherwise you would have posted it in the Facebook group or sent it to me over Twitter if you wanted the world to know who you were. So you don't need to state that. My bad breakup, as far as I know, was a breakup during my freshman college. I started dating my ex due to a crush and feeling really sorry for them. Always bad reasons to date someone.
Guys, please don't start relationships for reasons like that.
Do not start relationships because you have a crush on someone and you don't actually know them, nor because you feel sorry for them, and most certainly because you dated them before and broke up, and if there's been any length of time between that, you probably shouldn't date them again.
Are you dating Eclipse, Kelsey? Did I never know this?
Yeah, we've been dating for a few months now. Whoops.
Kelsey, can you move your camera up just a little bit? Because
Oh,
your
sorry,
face, you keep cutting your face off.
Yeah, sorry. I keep like
It's
moving
fine.
forward
She
and it
just
cuts
doesn't want
off.
to show people her forehead.
Okay,
She has forehead phobia. No, there it is.
I felt like I
Also,
was trying
can
to
you
help her
coordinate-
more than love her. I was also worried about taking advantage of her because I realized I was being a bit manipulative. At least you realized it. But if you're trying to help someone more than love them in a relationship, that's called
Guys,
being a friend.
No, I mean, it's called starting a relationship because you think it's called a savior complex. Something I suffer from. Private moment here, y'all, with the 40 or so of you that are currently watching us. I suffer from a savior complex. It's pretty bad. I have never dated what you would consider stable person. My current girlfriend is the most stable person I have ever dated. She has a job. She's in college. She has a future ahead of her. She's over the age of 20. Those are things that I didn't usually have in girlfriends. So this relationship is better than my previous ones, but I absolutely have had that problem. If you start a relationship only because you believe that you can help someone or make them better, your relationship is going to be a disaster. Trust me, I know from experience.
Yeah, do not start a relationship to help someone. Do not start a relationship because you think you can change them. What you're dating is what you get. You better go with it and better be ready to go with it, because if you start it for either of those two reasons, you either A, have a savior complex, or B, have a mommy complex, and you don't need to indulge it.
Good night, Soviet. Thanks for stopping by.
Good night, Soviet. Have a good night. But I at one point had this problem where I thought I could help people and make their lives better in addition to being in a relationship with them. I dated two people because of it. I kind of regret dating them now, even though we still talk and have managed to desync from each other enough to just be casual friends. But I probably should have just been a friend to them in the first place instead of tried to be a romantic lover as well.
Clawhead wants you to cut your face off, Kelsey.
Yeah, I saw that. Sorry, okay, honestly though, my webcam kind of just falls that way. It's like loose on the hinge, and then this is just how I sit.
Do you want me to ban Clawhead?
I can like get off my chair and like kneel on the ground if you want.
Wow, okay. Super submissive, Kelsey.
Okay, then.
This is not that kind of show, hun. Sorry.
That's not what I meant. Shut up.
Eclipse would be really, really mad if we let you do that. I'm giving you the moderator.
He might want to watch.
Ban people. He probably would want to watch. By the way, that's like a really good kink, y'all. That watching kink. Don't let anybody tell you that enjoying watching your partner have sex is bad. Because, damn, that's good kink. Right there.
So,
Crump mentions that the ban was opt-out and only on certain ISPs, but it still caused websites to have to take down parts of their communities. It wasn't the ban that caused FetLife to have to remove the communities. What caused FetLife to have to remove the communities was the fact that their payment processor, the company that processed the credit cards that give them the money to run the website. If you've never run a website, you can't understand this. I just paid for our server. Believe me, I'm fucking poor now. It's like all of my money went away.
To illustrate this from my perspective, guys, when I do the financial transparency report for my YouTube to show where my stream tip and my Patreon and all that money went, $200 or $300 of it this month is going to say, buy video games to entertain you.
Is there a cam girl joke in there? Yes, there is, Angels. Yes, there is.
So, So yeah, running a website, even like a YouTube channel, can get really expensive really quick.
Well, fam, I have a really expensive server that I pay for so y'all can read gaming news every day. So go to my website. Guilt.
I don't know how we
So-
got onto this topic. Please go to my sponsor, kitsuga.com, when you get the chance, preferably, when we're done talking here. And go look at some of the stuff that they've talked about today. I'm probably going to write up a first impression article at some point tomorrow. Also,
It told me said Kelsey's really working hard to earn our love.
Also remember that as I've said in many other live streams and haven't mentioned it all here, I'm supported on you guys. If you guys want to drop a tip, that's awesome because that helps me pay the bills.
Hey y'all, Fiaura did not have the best month for tips last month, so why don't you help that girl out? Alright, do you have another question?
Yes. What is our opinion of double-ended dildos?
They're awesome? That's a silly question.
Is that when you put one end in one person and one end in another
No,
person?
I saw an ad for double dildo panties, i.e. penetration of both holes, and thought, why not? Turns out the concept is much more exciting than the reality. Although they're a pleasure to wear, they're very distracting when attempting to do anything, quote, serious.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I can't speak on that, and neither can you, because we don't have Kelsey problem.
What?
This is where we're going to put you on the spot, dear. I hope
Look at
you're
her
ready.
face. Holy shit. This is
So
the
what
best
would be
show
your
ever.
thought
boy.
on panties with two dildos in them that go inside you while you're just wearing them?
They said that it would be it's very distracting during other things? Did they
Doing
mean
things that
other-
require concentration.
Oh, I would think so. I would think pretty much anything remotely sexual would be difficult to do would make things difficult to do. Sorry, you can tell I get nervous. I don't know. But
It's adorable. You have to come on the show every week now, because this is going to be our main.
no, yeah, I would think anything, but isn't that kind of the point, that it kind of, like, makes mundane things more exciting?
It should make mundane things more exciting, but you may wish to, like, make sure it has the option to remove said dildos when you need to do concentration.
Can you?
Okay, so
do you not have that option, or?
I don't know.
Let me just clarify, because I think
given
we've
me
confused
pictures.
a lot of people with this, guys. What we're talking, I thought we were talking about double-ended dildos. That one goes in each partner. Turns out we're not. We're talking about like a pair of panties that has two dildos attached to it, one in the butt and one in the vag.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
It's two in the pink, one in the stink, but in the form of panties. Shocker panties. We'll just call them shocker panties. It's brilliant.
So,
Isn't that simulating straight sex? Yes, Badge, that is simulating sex. That's what it is indeed.
that is simulating sex by walking with your underwear.
It sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest. I'd buy the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it
think
sounds like a lot of fun, but I would
Kelsey's like,
definitely
"Send me
have
some
like
now."
another.
No, that's not what I meant. I just.
I would definitely advise keeping another pair of underwear with you to change into, and like a discreet bag of some sort to duck the pair you've been wearing in, so nobody notices. Just throwing it out there, because you're probably going to have things where you're like, I should probably concentrate more on this than what's going on inside my vag right now.
Why wouldn't you just get a double-ended toy that's not attached to panties, so you can just take it out whenever?
Well, because
this
then
is
you
more
have a
fun.
bulge.
So
The whole
alright,
point
so-
of this is to like go to work
Oh, I see. Okay.
and
Okay.
work with it like that, which would make work. Which I imagine if you work like a retail job at a gas station, that's going to make that a really entertaining day.
Yeah. Huh.
All right, so we have a good question here from, again, I can't pronounce your name, Kag. I'm really sorry. I'm always worried about imposing my beliefs on my boyfriend next. I really don't want him to do things unless he wants to, but he's not the kind of person to say otherwise, so I'm worried about that. I have the same problem. My current partner is very eager to please. It's important to her to try things that I want to do. She doesn't have a lot of experience with kink. I have an insane amount of experience with kink. So basically, what you have to try to do is feel it out. What I try to do is feel it out. Try to feel out, like, is this something, let's do it once, and if they enjoy it, we can do it again. And if they don't enjoy it, it's kind of like if you imagine you go to like a buffet, and kink is a buffet, and you want to try a little bit of everything, right? Try it, see if your partner enjoys it. If they don't enjoy it, then you don't do it again. If they do enjoy it, then you do it again. What do you think about that one?
Me or Fiaura?
Either one of you.
If your partner is being like really like laid back about it and not really into it, then you may want to, just you may have to sit them down and you be the one to initiate. Even if you were the submissive one who likes being taken and everything, you may have to make them try it if they've agreed to try it. And if they back out at any point, you let them back out. But for some things, you're going to have to be the one to initiate it or put it in there, so to speak, in order to make it happen.
I don't think the problem is with initiation here. I think more what Keg is more saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, is basically partner will do things. They're not sure that the things that the partner's doing they like or not because the partner won't communicate that. That's a communication issue. And communication is important, but sometimes it is true that your partner may communicate something that is not necessarily 100% true in order to make you happy.
So, see you later, Pyros guys. Your best option there is to talk to them about it before and after.
Right.
And try to get their opinion when it's not in the moment.
Right. You could also bring it up as a topic of discussion to ask them to express their feelings on things more, not just that topic, and then maybe they'll get used to doing it more during the act.
Yeah, I think Keg, you're also, as mentioned a little farther down, that boyfriend is passive, very passive about it. That's gonna make it harder. You're gonna probably have some struggle in talking to this person about whether or not this is something that they like, and you don't always have to enjoy your partner's kink 100%. If it's something that, like, let's say that, again, let's go with feet just because it's an easy kink to do. So let's say that you don't find feet disgusting, so it's a yellow for you. You're okay with it from time to time. But your partner, it's a blue, 100%. They love it. It's one of their favorite things in the world. You can indulge your partner from time to time, and maybe you don't get off on it, but they do. And that's okay. That's healthy. It's part of a healthy relationship to understand that sometimes there's a power exchange, and sometimes you may do something that you're not 100% into just because your partner is 100% into it. Now, if it makes you feel icky, that's a different story. You don't want to feel icky while you're doing it. But if it's something that doesn't make you feel icky and gross, or you're not comfortable with, and you do it and a partner is really, really, really keen on it, then it may be healthy for your relationship to do that occasionally. And you see that even in non-kinky relationships. Guys that get anal on Valentine's Day. It's the one time a year they get it, and their girlfriend is indulging them, or their wife is indulging them, because even though their girlfriend or wife doesn't like anal sex at all, they know that it's healthy for their relationship for that to happen at least once a year for them, and so they make an exception to their normal rule.
And exceptions, compromise, and power exchanges are what relationships are a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. You have rules you wish to obey. Your partner wants to break a couple of them occasionally. Not to necessarily let them run amok, but breaking the rules sometimes is fun for everyone involved. And as she described it, your partner getting anal on Valentine's Day. Sure, why not?
I mean, that's just a really basic example that occurs all around the normal non-kinkster community. In a kink community, it's a lot different because that might be your partner wants to go and do something with diapers, or your partner wants to go and do something that involves, fluids or body fluids, or involves, blood play or whatever. It might be something like really super kinky. So it's hard to use an example like that because it's more extreme. Whereas if you just use a simple example, like, it's a lot easier to understand the idea that you are saying this is not something that I love. It's not something I would normally do. I'm doing it as an exception for you because I love you, because you love it. What's your opinion on that one, Kelsey?
No, I agree totally with what you're saying, that the anal on Valentine's Day thing was a really good analogy. I do think that if you love someone, then you should be open to doing those kinds of things. And I think that, again, like I was saying earlier about sex being kind of a taboo thing, like a lot of times people don't directly connect it to relationships. A lot of times people consider it an extra part, when I think that it is a wholly integrated part into a relationship. And so I think that it should be treated in the same way as every other aspect of a relationship. So you should be open to, treating your partner to what they want sexually every now and then, and in the same way that you should do with everything else in the relationship.
Good night, Key. Thank you for all the good questions. I'll remember how to pronounce your name next time, I promise.
Good night, Kai.
Lady Kit made a really good litmus test, I guess would be the word I would use. If a person is just agreeing to everything, you can use a reference outside of your relationship to talk about it to gauge their reaction. That's a really good litmus test. If it seems like your partner is just agreeing to everything to make you happy, talk to someone else about it. Again, that's the kind of therapist approach of like talk to someone outside your relationship about it.
So,
And I think that's healthy and normal.
We have another question here. So my question is, my sexual awakening was complicated due to my first time with my partner dealing with the trauma of her not being as a child. So the majority of our time together was mostly walking her through it and turning a traumatic experience into a positive one. Good for you! What would you recommend for a person being able to explore their possible kinks coming from this sort of scenario?
Well, what are their kinks? I mean, that's the question.
I mean,
are we getting into the kinks where we talk about? We're getting into the dangerous part of the show now. There are a set of kinks that fit nicely in a house that deal with previous sexual abuse. I'll just put it out there. I'll lay the cards on the table, guys. Kinks can be born from traumatic experience.
Kinks are actually most often born from traumatic experience. It's weird.
I had a partner who was tied to a tree when she was 10 by schoolmates, and her fucking favorite thing in the world was getting tied up.
Oh.
She got off the minute I started putting rope on her. No joke. She was melt. Once I started putting rope on her, she melted. Like, it was her favorite thing in the whole world. Didn't matter how shitty her day had been, what happened to her. Bust out the rope, 10 minutes of time, and she's ready. She was ready to go. And that was all born out of being tied to a tree when she was 10 years old. In the case of childhood sexual abuse, a lot of times kinks are brought out that maybe are not as healthy. But what are you pointing at?
My chat, Angel Gress going safe word. Have the safe word. Make sure it's established. Do not put a gag in someone's mouth until you get to the point where you can gauge if you need to stop or not.
You just use a hand signal. That's
that
all.
Too.
Just tap out. I've had partners on my bed that are bound and gagged, and you can still use your fingers to make signs to I'm fucking done sign. A disclaimer, please. I'm very experienced when it comes to shibari and rope and tape and basically anything involving bondage. So if you're not, start with the small basic stuff.
Start with small basic stuff always, guys. Like,
keep a pair of not kitchen scissors. Keep a pair of medical shears, which are not sharp; they're blunt, so you can cut the rope if your partner starts to panic. It's very important. I've cut hundreds of dollars of rope because partners are panicking. I'm not even kidding, and you can't put that rope back together.
It's gone, and you have to be prepared that anything you use for kinky purposes, you have to be prepared to replace it, which means if you buy it, you have to be prepared to have it destroyed.
Yep.
Because any form of sexual activity with humans is going to, even if you don't purposely cut it or break it, it's still going to take damage over time.
All right, so let's go back to the more complicated, or I guess more difficult to answer part of this question. I'm going to make an assumption, which is a bad idea, that your kink is... The assumption's bad, not the kink. Kinks are never bad. It affects in the right way. That your kink is pretending that you're a child, based on that abuse, and then getting into sexual situations in which, like what happened. That's a kink born out of trauma, and it's not uncommon. A lot of people will call that kink being a little. There's other names for it as well. Depends on the person what you call it. Doesn't really matter what you call it. Point is, it's an attempt to go back and re-experience that trauma in a safe manner, and to experience it and associate, instead of the negative memory that occurred with it, associate a positive, almost Pavlovian response to it in the terms of sexual behavior, and oh, this feels good, instead of oh, this feels bad when you remember it. And that's safe and healthy as long as it's being engaged in by two consenting partners who are doing it in a safe and healthy manner. Now, when it becomes unhealthy, it can go down a road very quickly. I mean, that can go downhill real fast.
It can go downhill real fast, and both partners have to recognize when it's become unhealthy. More importantly, it is a way to really deal with the trauma because you're going to attempt to re-experience it and then in your mind recreate how you have dealt with that as an adult. It
And
sounds weird.
We see rape victims do the same thing. They have a rape kink, and because they want to re-experience that traumatic event and have a positive association with it. Now, Kelsey's been itching to say something. I can see it in her face.
I'm not. No, again, I totally agree with you. I think you guys have covered both sides of it. Just reiterating. Fiona, you did say that that having a kink born from trauma is fine and healthy and great, and I agree with that. But I would say that oftentimes, I think if we're going by the definitions that you guys use for fetish and kink, oftentimes a lot of things like trauma from rape turning into a kink actually turns into a fetish, and it actually becomes a problem. And I think that maybe you should be sure that it is a healthy kink before, making
Absolutely.
it a big.
And it can be very difficult to recognize that, but understanding that it's the responsibility of both partners to recognize that and to realize if it's become harmful, because it can become harmful. That can be very, very harmful.
Something
Especially
we also haven't addressed here is aftercare. Like, people
we'll get to
assume that the BDSM relationship is all there is. There is a lot of time, effort, and emotional baggage that is taken care of with caring for the person after you've engaged in the kink or whatever you've been doing for the night.
And we'll talk about that in the BDSM episode a lot more, because aftercare is a fundamental part of BDSM. Hitomi Salazar, I started with the same thing. It was almost 10 years ago now, where I started with a little under-the-bed restraint system I picked up in a little sex shop because my girlfriend was interested in it. That's the same girlfriend who eventually had me tying her to the bed and putting a horse bit in her mouth. She was way into biting. She broke skin like more than once. That shit hurts. Okay, do we have any more questions?
I'm actually out. That was the last one in the email box. That
All right,
was
fam. Now
like
I wanna
over
do
an hour.
Yeah, we can keep going as long as there are questions. I want to do one more thing, and it's a weird. I want to do something just because it'll be interesting to do. I want to starting with Kelsey, because we always started with me for. Oh wait,
no, what are you
Fiora,
gonna
at the end
do?
of the show, can I ask something completely off topic? Yeah, Nikki, go ahead. You can ask it now, Nikki. That's fine. We'll answer it.
But go ahead. Where's this leading? Because my curiosity
I'm
says
very
I must
interested. Yeah.
So starting with Kelsey, what is your favorite kink, and where do you think it came from?
Oh boy, I have a lot of friends watching this. I would say
Well, if you're not comfortable answering the question, that's fine.
I'll keep it as vanilla as possible, and just since I already said it, I'll stick to this one. But I would say the general submission thing.
Oh, that's like what? That's not a kink.
It is. Well, I
Okay,
mean,
okay. Let's
I mean,
rephrase
branches.
this. Let's rephrase this because I know what Fiona's getting at. Specific sexual activity.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was getting to anything that I'd be interested in is kind of a branch of being submissive.
Okay.
I don't know how detailed I want to get to, but
I can
much
just ban everyone from the chat and it'll take a...
on my list of kinks are just a list of things that are required of someone who is submissive.
that are subbing like are we talking like dressing up in maid costumes here, or are we talking like service kink, or are we just talking like I like to bottom?
I think a lot of it is also just kind of what we were talking about earlier. Pretty much the biggest thing would be doing whatever my partner would want me to do. Not necessarily pleasuring them, but doing things that would bring them pleasure, I guess. Like,
Okay.
How do I keep this vague?
Where the point is to not be vague.
Right, Sam? I mean, the point is to not be vague. But if you want to stop there, that's fine.
If you want to stop there, we can stop there.
We'll make Fiaura go next. Fiaura will not be at all.
No, I will not be.
You can-
So in order.
Oh boy.
Order. Oh my god, she's got a list. I only asked for
Cream
one.
pie or internal ejaculation, even if it's using a dildo to get to get vaginal fluid to internally ejaculate into the person.
Everybody loves some bad dragon toys.
Tail sex.
What?
And
Please
you heard
to
me.
explain.
It is the act of having sexual intercourse or sexual fantasies using a tail as a prop.
Okay. All right. That's literally what it says in the tin. I thought there was something else going on there.
What? And I will just say it. Futanari are a huge turn on for me personally. Though I definitely prefer female or female identified partners.
Hitomi, it's not lifestyle. What it is Kelsey's trying to talk about the MS side of BDSM without naming it. So she likes the master slave side of BDSM, and that's just a really broad type of like umbrella term. And so you don't have to. You can drill down into that term like way deeper, and we will have an entire show about BDSM. And I'll make that girl right there talk about it a lot. I promise.
I'm gonna say any kink that falls under submissive is probably on my list.
And
like a billion of those.
If you wanted to name some, I would confirm or deny.
And I am gonna say this as well. As far as the first one I mentioned in internal ejaculation, it can be any orifice, but I do not like at all any form of orgasm onto a person's physical body.
Oh really? I fucking love that.
Is there a reason for
Robbie,
that?
I'll come
So
out on
no facials. If you're gonna sit on my face, make sure when you come you shove your pussy down against my mouth. Straight up, no coming on my back, no coming on someone's ass. No, that's all right out. I will literally be like, nope, I'm done. And
Okay.
that's borderline fetish, and I understand that, but that's my personal preference.
Okay. I've only got one top one, and I didn't make a list of 5. Sorry, I'm not as cool as Fiaura.
3, damn it! And all I did was go on my F list and look at the only 3 things that are in the favorite category.
I mean, I have an F list, but I'm really not going to go to it right now. It's got like a dozen things in it. So first of all, I will say that my kink list, my F list is really big. Like huge. All right, sorry, I couldn't resist Donald Trump joke. So my top though, I think of all time is definitely anything to do with piss. 100%. Like that's straight up top of my list of kinks. Is anything to do with the whole like, it's a category. It's not really one kink, but like golden showers, panty wetting, or omaroshi, which is probably the best out of them. Anything in that category is like one of my favorite things, and it's really more like it's kind of body fluid stuff too, because I like also gruel, which is like mushy juice in general. That's a really good kink, and cum as well. So it's kind of just body fluids, I guess, but it's too broad, so I just usually go with this in general.
So there you go, guys. We said we were going to talk about kinks, and we even said that we would talk about our personal favorites.
Oh, thank you for the follow, person who just followed. Much appreciate. 1 follow for this 1 hour and 27 stream of embarrassing content.
It's okay. Things happen slow a lot of the time.
We will be here next week. In case you've forgotten who we were or you had a stroke between now and the beginning of the show, I'm Fiona Fox.
I am Fiaura the Tank Girl.
And I'm Kelsey Pekin.
And we're here every single Friday, not Saturday, y'all. Sorry,
Well, Kelsey may or may not be. We might have traumatized her.
Well, Fiaura and I are here every Friday at 10 p.m. to answer your questions about sex. This program has been Foxes After Dark. This is only our 3rd show. I really appreciate you guys coming out to talk about all the stuff, asking great questions in the chat. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody about the show. Tweet about it, write about it, talk about it. Because the more audience participation that we get, the more of you that come to the chat and ask questions, the more cool shit we can talk about, the longer we can talk, the more stories we can tell. It's always more fun the more of us that come together. The idea behind this show is we want to shine a light into the darkness of the basement of sex. Sex
I mean, we're gonna shine a light into the basement, but this is also like, in the United States, we have very poor sex ed. Just so everyone knows, this is helping make up for some of that. We hope.
Yeah, I mean, Zach, you're the third. Like, this is the third person. Like, Zach literally just like. Thank you, everyone. I've been learning a lot. This is like the third stream where someone has come in and been like, "Holy shit, I learned so much this show." Like, guys, that's why we're here. I want for you to talk about her own relationships too. Hey, King Browns, that's her prerogative. I cannot ask about that. We're gonna do a show about relationships as well. I want to do a show about polyamory. I'm trying to get a really good friend of mine from Twitter to come on and talk about polyamory. He's kind of an expert. So we have next week's show is going to be BDSM and you. It's gonna be a good show. There'll be a lot of visuals. No, I'm kidding. But can't get banned from Twitter.
So the person who sent me a question says, "Thank you for answering my question. I agree with the aftercare of the partner and having panic attacks or full-on nightmares that involve calls in the middle of the night to help them calm down."
That's not aftercare.
That's not necessarily aftercare, but that is whole care about the entire relationship.
If you're having nightmare, I gotta say something, because if sex is causing you to have nightmares in the middle of sex, you need to stop doing it right now.
Yeah.
That behavior
but
needs to cease,
if you're talking about that it's helping with the panic attacks and the nightmares, then obviously you're doing something right. What I wonder is it healthy for me to go to a kink club to discover my possible kinks?
Yes.
Yes.
As long as your partner's okay with it, that's one of the best ways to do it. Be aware that if you have a penis, now this is it doesn't matter what your gender expression is, if you have a penis, it's very expensive to go to a kink club without someone who doesn't have a penis. Kink clubs are heavily skewed towards people with vaginas. That's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. A lot of times the entry fee will be over $100 for someone with a penis, if you're not a member.
But yeah, it's perfectly fine to go to a kink club, and if you're really just exploring for what your kinks are, sitting back and watching is your best bet.
Lady Kid, I had Catholic school sex ed. It was the worst thing in the whole world.
So your sex ed was don't do it.
No, it was a pipe. She had a pipe that was the actual this fucking furnace pipe. And she would say, "This is the actual size of a female vagina," and it was like this big around. Like, what the fuck?
My entire experience in sex ed in public school was just being horrified, scared away from it, being told it's bad, and
my sex ed experience was my parents refusing to sign the paperwork to allow me to attend sex ed class, and then coming to school and protesting when I was made to do it anyway.
Listen, if you want a good example of American sex ed, just look up Mean Girls sex ed scene, because that pretty much covers it all.
Yeah, that pretty much covers American sex ed.
Exactly.
Sadly. Yeah. So I want to thank everyone for submitting questions for this week and submitting things for us to talk about. That's awesome. Please give us more. If this turns into a 3 or 4 hour show, I know I'll still do it. Fiona might pass out on us at the damn keyboard. But
no, I'll still be here.
I'll still be here.
I got monsters. So, I mean, we'll go as long as you guys have questions. As long as you can continue to ask them, we'll continue to answer them. Email Fiaura, tweet at us on the twitter.com. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell people who you hate. Just get them in. We'll be here, like I said, next week. We're going to do BDSM and you. And then the week after, we're going to do a furry show. So if you're a furry, you probably want to show up for the show after the next show. Next week, we'll do BDSM. It's going to be a fun show. Maybe Kelsey will be there. I don't know. Depends on her schedule. I like having Kelsey here. I'm sure Kelsey likes being here.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's very cool.
Dr. Ruth on radio tonight. Do any of you guys remember Loveline with Dr.
I do.
Oh man, that was so
I remember having to sneak to watch it so I could actually, understand things about sex.
It was on television? I thought it was only on the radio. Syndicated radio.
There was a version of it. I forget what it was called, but it was on Oxygen. It came on at like 2 in the morning. So I would sneak down into the back room, turn on the back room TV, and be watching a sex education show at 2 in the morning.
Are you still going to make a rabbit? I don't know what that means. Okay, well, I think we're gonna end the show, guys. Thank you for coming out. Any parting words from any of you? Let us know when you want the
Go forth, my minions, and explore, and then come back and give me questions about it.
Janet, Janet, I think the relationship show is gonna have to be an extra long show, so we'll let you guys know a couple weeks in advance because
Yeah,
that's gonna be a
we'll let you
long
know that one.
show. Fox is gone. Oh, oh, you know what, Lady Kid? That's right. I'm gonna make a rabbit for us this week, so they don't have to submit them directly to your email. They can put them in the
Oh,
rabbit.
cool.
Oh, that's good.
Actually, Fiaura, I'm tasking you to do that.
I don't know how to make a rabbit.
Rabbit.com.
I you're you're asking a bit much. Anyway, I'll see all of you guys next week.
I glare at you. Stream over.
Well, actually, I'll see you guys later this week. Bye, guys, on YouTube.
It's over. Goodbye. Thank you for coming out, everyone.
Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, though we won't be playing Armored Warfare for obvious PTSD reasons.